Alright, hello everyone. So today I'm gonna teach you on how you can make your own Retake game mode for your own custom map in CS2. So what you're gonna do is to go to your game folder and CSGO add-ons and choose your add-on file. So for me it's gonna be the market, and go to a maps folder and you should see a file called Retakes. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna rename it to singular instead of plural. So we're gonna name it to Retake. Now if you didn't find this file, you're gonna go to your CS2 asset browser. You're gonna type in Retake. You should see these Retakes files, and you can just simply copy any of them. So for me, I'm just gonna copy the Inferno one. I'm just gonna select all, Control C, and then go to my Retake file. Of course, if you don't have, you can just create one right here. So for example, if my map name is the museum, I can just type in Retake and open it, and then just paste this thing here. So you should go to the Retakes file. I'm copying this right here. So you can see, as you can see here, there are these stuffs here, which is going to be your Retake config file. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to CS2 and launch my map. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna choose terrorists, and then I'm gonna open up vConsole, and I'm going to set ignore round conditions to 1 so the game won't end, and kick the bots. Alright, so now it's time to configure spawn points for both CTs and terrorists. So first we're gonna be configuring spawn points for CT. So normally you would want your CTs to spawn a bit far away from the bomb site, so they won't be able to reach the bomb site that quickly. So for example, I want a CT to spawn here. Again, you have to open up vConsole and type in get pos exact. With this command here, the console will give you an output like this, which is the coordinates of your CT. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna copy this output, and then go to a text file, and then you should see here Retake spawn CT A site. So for example, if the bomb is planted on A site, this is where the CTs are going to spawn. So as you can see here, there are two separate values here, which is this and this. So basically these are IDs that Valve uses to make sure there isn't any duplicate spawn points. So I'm just going to delete all these spawn points right here, and I'm going to type in quotation mark 0 and the ending mark, and then again, and then Control V, and then I'm going to remove the and you have to remember to remove this here, set ang as in you have to remove this, and then another quotation mark. So every time if you want to add another spawn point, you are going to do the same process, but remember to use another ID here. So basically this is your spawn point ID. You're going to be using 1 instead of 0, because we already use 0, so we're going to use 1. And if you want to add in another spawn point, you can just use 2, and similar to next 3. So the process is simple. You're going to find a place for your CT to spawn, stand at that place, and then just type in get post exact. And then after that, you're going to see this output here, copy this until here. No need to copy the set post exact here. And then we'll be going back to the notepad, and then we'll add the quotation mark here, and then we'll paste it. And remember to remove this line here. And then I'm going to be closing the quotation mark and name it, and you can just comment anything you want here. This is for your own reference. So if you want to edit something later, you will know where to edit. So for example, if there's something wrong with CT spawn, I can just immediately know that the first ID here is for CT spawn. So we have, as you can see here, for A side we already have 4 spawn points for CT. And you must have 4 spawn points for CT, because there's gonna be 4 players playing Retakes as CT. So you must have at least 4 or more spawn points, so every CT can spawn. So now for example, if your map is a wingman only map, which means you are only going to be having 1 bomb site, you can simply ignore the B site category here. The game will never execute any of these spawn points right here, because there are no B sites. So you can just simply ignore here. So now for T's, you're going to be placing terrorists as near as bomb site as possible, because they are going to be planting here and defending the bomb site. So first I'm going to add a terrorist here, and then it's the same process as get post exact. and we are going to the game will be expecting to have at least 3 terrorist spawn points, so we are going to do that. Again, remember to use the closing quotation mark and remove the comment here. So now, as you can see here, I already configured all 3 spawn points for terrorists, and now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to configure the bomb plant spots. Basically, the bomb plant spots are basically spots where the bomb will be planted. For example, if I want a bomb to be planted here, I will again to get post attack to get the coordinates and simply copy the coordinates here, and I'm gonna be replacing this with this, and of course removing set ang exact, and I'm just gonna delete all this first. Now you may see a strange number here before the coordinates starts. There is a strange number like this 12 here, 2, 11, 1, 1. Basically these are weight systems. The higher the number is, the more chance that the bomb will be planted there. So for example, you can see here, for Inferno B side, the default plant spot will occur most likely because it has a value of 12, which is very high, and it's higher than other 3 of these here, which means that the bomb is likely going to be planted at default, and it will be least likely be planted towards Emo, I don't know, and Banana. So that's how it works. Basically, the higher the number is, the more chance that the bomb will be planted at that spot. So as you can see here, I've already configured my bomb plant spots. Basically, for bomb plant ID 0, there's gonna be a 12% chance that the bomb will be planted there. Now the reason is 12% because all of my values here add up to 100. So basically there's a 12% chance that my bomb will be planted on here, and there will be 48% chance that my bomb will be planted here, and there's another 40% chance that my bomb will be planted at the green chalk right here. So after this, we have successfully configured spawn points and bomb plants for our map. Now you will see a barrier category here, but what I'm gonna want you to do is to remove that thing. It's useless, and there's another way to make barriers. So what we're going to do is that we're going to save the notepad file here, and then what we're going to do is to open up our V console and then type in map workshop, and then we are going to type our, and then we're now going to be typing our workshop's ID, which if you go to your Steam profile here, and then you're going to be clicking workshop items, and you should see your workshop map here. And what you're going to do is that you are going to remember the ID here. This ID is your workshop ID. So for my ID, it's gonna be 3675697172. Ignore this here, and then you're gonna do space, and then you're gonna choose the map that you're going to be playing. So for me, it's gonna be the second one here. And then what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna add a semicolon here, and then I'm gonna type game type 0, another semicolon, and game mode 5. So what this command does is that it's gonna be launching Retakes in your map. So you're just going to press enter and then go back to the game. And as you can see, it works. Everything works fine. Spawn point works fine, and the bomb plants, everything works fine. My aim is not fine, ignore that. So as you can see, everything works fine. We have the enemies here, and then we have the bomb planted here, green chalk. And so yeah, everything works fine, but there's just one more problem. Remember the barrier section we removed earlier? If you switch to terrorist, you will find out that during freeze time, terrorists can't move, while in Valve's official maps, but during the freeze time, the terrorists can move freely, but not here. This is because we didn't set up barriers. Now if your map is small like mine, you can safely just skip the barriers thing, because it's small and we don't want the terrorists to move around to check where the enemies are. But if your map is big, like Valve's map, like Dust 2, nuke, those kind of maps that are big, which requires barriers so the terrorists can reach certain places during freeze time. We're going to go to hammer. So I'm gonna go to the materials tabs here, and I'm gonna search for Retake barrier. Alright, so the one we're gonna be using is this Retake blocker dynamic VMAT. So depends on your map, we're gonna be placing the barriers until a certain point so that the terrorists won't get that far. For example, I don't want a terrorist to go beyond here, so I'm going to add this thing and the barrier here. And also, for example, I don't want the terrorists to go near the here, so I'm also going to add this barrier. So now we have two entities. So what you're going to do is that you're going to select both of them, tie selected meshes to entity, and name it Funk Brush as and assign Funk Brush to the class. And now this is important. Now you have to assign them a name called Retake.aSite. Now if your bomb site is on B, you are going to be renaming Retake.bSite. So but since I only have A site, I'm going to name it A site. And now you're going to set the solidity to toggle, so it's toggleable. And you are also going to be using start disabled. Also going to be clicking that. So when you launch retakes, the game will automatically identify your current game mode and enable these entities. So I'm going to build the map, and I'm going to choose only entities, save it, and wait for the map to be built. So as you can see, we have these barriers here, and we can't move beyond them, and after freeze time ender we can move beyond them again. So this is basically how you add barriers in CS2. Now you might think that's all there is for Retakes, but actually you would be wrong. Let's take a tour to nuke. Okay, I didn't meant for that, but alright, so we just spawned in, and I think you guys heard something, right? We heard that a door has been opened, which you can see here. The door is not supposed to be open, but yet the door here is open. As you can see here, the door is open also. The door is also open. But that's not possible, right? Because I'm the only player in the server, and yet these doors are open. Well, this is because these doors are scripted to open upon retakes. Basically, when the game mode is retakes, the game will open the doors. This is to so these doors can also be very good. Okay, so these doors can also actually be pretty good if you want some advantages for CTs or terrorists, because maybe, for example, your map is not very balanced in retakes, and you want them to be balanced as possible. So sometimes you have scenarios like this. So as you can see here, the exit is here, and there are two windows here, which means if a CT is at this kind of position, they could choose to break the glass, but that would obviously leak their position. Or they could also go to this door, but what they didn't know is that this door is alarmed. Now the reason I added that alarm is because I want the terrorists to have some advantages. So when the alarm is sounded, the terrorists here will immediately know there's a CT in bank, so they would be cautious on it. That is because I want advantages to terrorists and less advantages to CT. But obviously, if we are in retakes and a CT is spawned here, if I configure a CT to spawn here, obviously he wouldn't want to go to the front door or go to break the windows here, because obviously he will leak his position to the terrorist team, and the terrorists will be guarding that area now. What we're gonna do is to commit some v-scripting. So what you're gonna do is to go to content folder, CSGO add-ons, your add-on name, and then you are going to go to scripts. If you don't have the folder, you can create one yourself, and then I'm going to create a JavaScript. So I'm just gonna name it Retake.js. You can name it anything you want. After open it, now you can open this in Notepad editor, but I have VS Code, so I'm just going to use Visual Studio Code, because not only that it shows you the errors in your code, it also shows a lot of helpful things for you for your coding. So I'm gonna include this file in the description later, so you guys can just copy and paste it and for your own reference. But it's better for you to listen to me right now, because everyone's map is different and needs different configurations. So first of all, we're gonna be typing this here, import instance from CS script point script. This is the mandatory thing here. We have to type in, and then we're going to press enter, and we're going to type instance dot on round start round context equal right arrow and a curly bracket here. We move this bracket, so now you will have something like this. So basically the following code here will execute whenever a new round is started in Retakes. Since we have to identify if it's retake or no, we are going to type the following: let gt equals instance.get game type, let gm equals instance.get game mode. Remember when we type in the map workshop thing, right? When we type in the Retakes game mode, as you can see here, the game type for Retakes is 0 and the game mode for Retakes is 5. So we're going to type if the game type, if brackets the game type equals to 0, the game mode equals to 5. This is going to be Retakes, and then we're going to add a curly bracket here. So if the game mode is Retakes, we're going to go back to Hammer now. So we'll be going here. As you can see here, we have 2 windows here and a trigger multiple brush for the alarm. So what we are going to do is that we are going to break these glasses when Retake is started. So I'm just going to hide the trigger real quick. So as you can see here, we have prop dynamic, which is your window. It's going to be pop dynamic, and now you're going to be naming these windows with names. So for example, I have bank window 1 and bank window 2 here. So what you're going to do is that you're going to go to outputs, going to add for your target entity's name. You're going to be typing in your name here, or you can just use the eyedropper and then just click here, so it will automatically input it. So you're going to find the suitable variable or input for your object to execute something. So for example, since I want a window to be broken, I'm going to find a appropriate response from here. As you can see here, breakables such as windows have this command called break. So we can also go to CS2 here, and then we can go to the windows here. Basically, if you go to a V console and type in entity file bank window 1, as you can see here, we can type break. There's a break command here, and if we press enter, the window's gonna break, same as the window on its left. As you can see here, it broke. So we are going to go back to our JavaScript file. We're going to type in the following: instance.entity file at name bank window 1, or in your case it's going to be your object's name. I'm going to type in break with a delay of 1, and then we're going to be doing the same break with a cooldown of 1. And now since I also have this alarm to have to deal with, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to light up this light here, and also removing this entity so the alarm will not sound. So since this thing is a brush and players won't see it in normal matches, and in most cases I can just type in Q. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to type in the name here, and then I'm going to type Q, because it doesn't really matter if you use Q or other things, because this is a brush. So if it's removed from the world, I won't know anything either, which means it doesn't really matter. So yeah, we're gonna do that, and we are going to light up the light here. The name of my light is just light, so we're going to go to its output here. We're going to add output, and then we're going to choose the light, and then we are going to find the appropriate response for the light to light up, which for light it's gonna be enable. See, it says turn on the light here. We can also try it out in game ourselves. We can type entity fire light enable. As you can see here, it works, which means it will also work here too. So now we have the scripts here, and we also have to remember to close back the bracket we used here. So I'm going to add a closing bracket. When I don't have the bracket, there's an error here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the closing bracket, And as you can see here, the problem is gone, and I'm gonna save it. Now what you're gonna do is that you are going to go to your hammer. You are going to be adding an entity into your map called point script. This is going to be the entity you want to add, and then you are going to use the magnifier tool to select your JavaScript file, which is going to be this one, retake.vgs, or anything that you have named earlier. And since we have this thing, we are just going to build only entities, and yes. And when I go here, as you can see, the light is already lit up, whether if there's anyone here or no. And the windows here are also broken, which means the script worked fine, which is good. Now there are situations where your scripts might not work in Hammer. Now for example, if I restart the game, here as like Hammer, as you can see here, it said warning, suppressing on demand recompile of asset failed to load CS script, which means the game had failed to load the script and the windows simply wouldn't break and nothing will happen. And when I walk over this, the alarm will sound because the script didn't work here, as you can see here. So in order to fix this, it's really simple. You just have to go to your notepad or VSC here. All you have to do is to save the file, so the game will recompile your script, and you're gonna do mp restart game 1, and it worked again. As you can see, the alarm didn't sound here. Everything is working fine again. Alright, so that's it. So in this tutorial, we've learned on how to make spawn points like this, and we also know how to make bomb plants. We also know how to launch a retake map. We know how to add barriers for terrorists to move around, and we also know how to execute the IOs for in-game props. For example, the windows here are broken. And that's the tutorial for today. Now if you have any questions regarding this tutorial here, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will reply to you, and I will help, and I'll try my best to help you solve your problems. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.